My name is Angela Eipert, and I'm the Prior Lake Rotary, and I have the pleasure of introducing your speaker today, Wendy Milhauser. And I did just recently hear your interview with Jordana Green, so everyone should listen to that after this. It was really genuine and wonderful. And so to tell you a little bit more, so she can jump in and tell you everything you want to hear today, Sissy Mary Sue is the pen name for author Wendy Milhauser, who has written the children's book, Jelly Beans, the Cheetah and Hope. This story arose out of Wendy's experience with the Barabeg tribe while on a Rotary trip. It is a story of peace, empathy, tolerance, perseverance, and compassionate action. Jelly Beans, the Cheetah and Hope is in its third printing and has 5-star rating on Amazon. And I'd like to just welcome Wendy Milhauser.
I'll try not to be too emotional today, but just to have the opportunity to come here to speak, it's incredible to me. The Rotary family is incredibly special. I feel that to be among all of you is really such a special place. So thank you so much for having me. I wanted to thank right away Sandy Schley for being my mentor, my friend, and for inviting me to Africa to be a part of something that changed my life completely. So I wanted to start that right away. I wanted to also thank Tim Murphy for suggesting that I speak, Tim Mulcrone for encouraging me to speak as well, and for Michael Becker, who was so wonderful on the phone sharing with me about how we would deal with the technology. I wanted to share too out of the blocks that we are merely the sum of our parts. There is nothing that we can accomplish in this life without the support of family, friends, community, Rotarians, interns, and students in my case. That's how I've accomplished anything that I have. Any of the successes with my children's book is as a result of all of the people, and especially the young people, providing that strength and that beauty with the kind of passion they have about empowering youth with empathy to spring into compassionate action, because that is what the book is really intended to do. I was inspired by my father. Other people in Edina Rotary, where I used to be a Rotarian, know this story already. But my dad began South Anchorage Rotary in the early 80s. So I watched my father. My father modeled to me that heart of service. He modeled to me all that is Rotary. And I was watching, just like your kids are watching. And then something really special happened. When my brother died in a car accident quite suddenly, my dad at the time was the Rotary president of his club. The entire club came to the funeral. I was enveloped with the compassion and the love and the support of Rotarians. On that day, I just had an indelible mark on my heart that never left. And so what's very interesting to me to consider is that the book that I was able to put into the world about empathy, shared humanity, and that we are one human family, the impetus for that book, first, was the love and the compassion of Rotarians. It came from that. It came from the modeling of that first. So my dad being a Rotarian, the love of the Rotarians, led me then to join Rotary some years after my dad passed, and then led me to Africa, which led me to, with an invitation from Sandy Schley, that led me then to have to write the book. And it all comes full circle. Isn't that beautiful? And I hadn't put all of that together. I knew that it was Rotary that led me to write the book, but I hadn't thought about the compassion and the empathy piece until I thought back about writing this speech, right? And it's so true. I had the honor this summer to get to go back to Alaska to do a book signing at Barnes & Noble. And so even though my dad and my brother were not there, I got to honor the memories of both at that signing, and it was really incredible, really difficult. 2 days there, I wanted to just fly home because the pain felt kind of intense. But I faced it, and I was a part of it, and I honored all of what I was about when I was there. So Rotary inspires. Rotary inspired a book about empathy and compassion because that's what Rotary is. And again, I'm incredibly honored to be part of a group of people who are so selfless and so amazing. I can't even put it into words. I'm grateful beyond my heart and my mind to get to serve. Okay, so we're going to show the video, I think, next, so we can start with that. Now, I want you to know that the work that I'm doing, again, is energized not only by the young people who have done the illustrations. The book is illustrated by high school age kids from Purpose Center for the Arts, and also by a young person from Brooklyn Center. Besides the illustration support with interns, I have about 9 interns right now who work as marketing interns, video interns, helpers in many different ways. And that's what continues to energize and give this mission with empowering youth with empathy to spring into compassionate action the strength that it has. That's where it comes from. Kaylee take a look at the videographer. This is Kaylee. She is a high school age student, and she has been my student off and on since she was a 6th grader. So she remembers, I didn't even remember that she was a part of this, but she remembers when I just had drawings, when I had some of the early sketches that artists were playing with, and I was using this text as curriculum in the field to make sure that kids could understand empathy and learn about this tribe. And she's been on that whole journey with me, and it's such an honor to have her with me, and it's just fantastic to have all of what we're doing energized. She is the author then of the next video that we're seeing. Okay, so the song and the intro and end, it's actually a love song to mankind that I wrote that I found a way to incorporate in the second book in the series. I've had the honor to have been going to St. Mary's University, and just recently I presented my thesis, which was the second book, and it was accepted. So as of the 15th of April, as a person with 5 concussions, I now have a master's degree, and it's kind of exciting and wonderful. Thanks. And it's so fantastic to have been a part of a program where my book could be the bulk of my coursework, and the second book could serve as the thesis, and the Love Song to Mankind was actually a part of my program too. I am applying for a PhD program through Fielding University, and we'll see if I get in there, and I might be starting that in the fall. And it's a similar program to the one that I was in, where I can continue to write books surrounding social justice and do the kinds of things that I believe so strongly in doing. Besides doing the writing that I'm doing with creating books, I also have the intention to put this character everywhere, not out of ego, but because I believe that kids are inundated with negativity. They have phones in their hands at 9 years old right now, and I'm so deeply troubled, as we all are, about how the message that is coming to children and adults has to do with there is far more bad in the world than there is good. And personally, I don't believe that. I think we need to counter that. And Jellybeans the cheetah, as he stands for empathy and kindness and love and perseverance, he has life-affirming qualities that kids can emulate. That's what I want to share. And again, it comes back from having been inspired by Rotary, with Rotary kinds of ideas and feelings and service, to bring that forth for kids as well. Do you know? So I'm pretty honored and excited about the future going forward. I have a lot of service that I want to keep providing, and I'm pretty humbled by all of it. I want next to show the book. So what I will be doing is I'll read just a few pages from the text of the first book, and then I will give you a little bit of a sneak peek reading some text from this second book in the series. The second book in the series, besides me playing a little bit more with having the characters learn more about each other, asking each other the meaning of certain words, the cheetah has acquired language, but he doesn't know what humanitarianism means. He doesn't know what the word empathy means because he's just newly acquired language. And so in the second book, I take the opportunity to help teach more about the vocabulary I introduced in the first book. And then also that Love Song to Mankind was created by the cheetah and the little girl as they were playing. One last thing that's really important about the second book has to do with me introducing the idea of play for language development. Kids are not interacting and playing enough. Again, they have phones in their hands from the time they're 9. This is not good brain development. This is not human development. This is not helpful for social emotional growth or the kinds of growth they need or the readiness for reading. And so within the second book, kids will be encouraged, and the readers will be encouraged to see the value of playing to acquire language. Again, the book is illustrated by Rotary Center for the Arts students, and Jacob Peterson has his name on the book because he was the Brooklyn Center student who took it to the finish line. He did a fantastic job. I dedicate the book to my son Connor, but then the second is to the Barbeg tribe, the inspiration for this book, who opened my eyes to the scarcity of basic needs in the world and taught me the beauty to simply be. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just read the first page, flip through, and kind of give you sort of just an overview of it without getting through all 24 pages. There was a cheetah who grew up lonely and sad. His loving mother was all that he had. When she was taken away, he felt great sadness and dismay. He'd grown up being teased, you see, for his spots looked different than they were supposed to be. They were oddly shaped instead of like dots. He was ridiculed by others taking pot shots. He felt like a freak, like he didn't belong. When his mother was there, she'd sing him a song. Her voice and the words of the song were so sweet. Knowing she loved him made him feel more complete. So the song, you can kind of just see the words, I love you, precious sweet boy, you are my pride and joy. There is only one like you, love yourself as I love you too. It's just a beautiful, affirming song from a mother who's a very good mother. He's captured at a certain point in the story, and he's pretty scared, and he's bullied by these other characters. This is when he's brought back to the base camp where the little girl's dad is. When they finally got back to their base camp, they put him in a cage that felt cold and damp. One of the men had a daughter who lived with him there. She was beautiful, but sad, and had brown curly hair. Her name was Nicole, he would come to find out. By now, the comforting words from his mother, he was starting to doubt. His uniqueness got him into this situation. How could his uniqueness be good, was his contemplation. He was clearly losing hope. It was his mother's song that helped him cope. He believed somehow that she was right. The words of the song helped him hold on that first night. Okay, so here's where, and I won't read this part just to get through quicker. Do you see the beautiful visual here? She's showing empathy. And I'm introducing the word empathy on this page, but I'm restating it as kindness and other things so that kids can see it and then they can hear it in the text. The main characters then in the story, I think as I shared this already, model empathy to the reader, and then they're shown empathy at the end of the story by the tribe we helped. But the biggest message of empathy is caring about the plight of all people and seeing that we are one human family. Nicole learned cheetahs don't actually roar. She found his soothing purr hard to ignore. Nicole loved it when the cheetah purred. Somehow it made her feel reassured. Perhaps it's because while he purred, his mother's song played in his head. He kept her memory alive with her song and words that she'd said. The cheetah changed the song by replacing boy with girl. He added a part about how Nicole's hair was all a twirl. I wanted you to see those last 2 pages for a very significant reason. When my first edit came down, they wanted to take the word empathy out of the book, and they wanted to take out she was beautiful with brown curly hair out of the book. The book is about our beauty as human beings. It is about valuing and honoring diversity, valuing and honoring all of us. And so the first editor did not understand my mission or the importance of that. When I read this book to kids and read it before it was published, that's what the kids were responding to. They would say, I have brown eyes and I have dark hair and it's curly. And I would say, yes, and you're beautiful. It's powerful for kids to see themselves in the book. Okay, so she loses her mother. And she has a special song that her mother had for her, and it was a jelly bean song. So she gives the character of jelly beans significance. He just feels like a freak. He doesn't know what those shapes look like. He has no idea that they look like anything. But the little girl's mother had called her jelly beans as a nickname. And so when she met the cheetah, she thought, oh, let me give him this name. She gives him significance so he doesn't feel like he doesn't belong. Okay, so Nicole sings the song to him. At a certain point, they're orphaned, and they don't have, the dad hasn't come back, something's happened with him. And she comes up with the idea, he learns to talk at this point, she comes up with an idea to go to the Barbeg tribe to seek help. Okay, so that they're all alone. But then she shows another example, a supreme example of empathy by letting the cheetah go free.
since a cage is no place for a beautiful animal to be. She lets him go. He asks, "Are you sure?" She says, "Jelly beans, you are so pure. Yes, I'm sure. You have given me hope. I feel like now I'm more able to cope." She lets him go, and he comes back because he has the same kind of empathy for her that she has for him. So you see that there are these examples of empathy within the book that the reader can understand as far as seeing these characters show it to one another. The tribe welcomes the two. Jelly Beans and Nicole walk to the village side by side. Now that they decided to stay together, they hoped they could live with the tribe. Mbisha smiled broadly when he saw Nicole and Jelly Beans coming near. "I was worried you two were alone. I'm glad that you came here." Nicole gushed, "Mbisha, you are so kind. Jelly Beans and I could stay here. You wouldn't mind." The Barbag family welcomed the two, showing beautiful empathy as they do. Now, as the writer, when I show the reader the beauty of this tribe, the way they welcomed in the little girl and the cheetah who were in peril, this gives me now an opportunity then to tell the reader what the tribe needed, and the reader then cares about the plight of the tribe, okay? I will share this really quickly, because this is the Simply Be that I got to be able to put into the book. Feeling a greater connection to the human family, they felt settled and embraced their gift to simply be. This is where Jelly Beans now gives the little girl the name of Hope, because she's given him that. He had this awful time in that cage, and she never left him, and she always gave him that kind of support. Do you see the earth dam in the background of the picture? Okay. Here's Sandy Schleich, she's a cartoon character in the book. I used her as the face of humanitarianism. And at first I'll read some text, and then I'll explain why I have her handing markers to one child. Okay, so remember, as a writer, I have the reader understanding the beauty of the tribe, and now I'm teaching what they needed. The tribe needed clean water close by, so humanitarians made them an earth dam the color of sky. One night, when Jelly Beans and Hope had been asleep for a while, a child snuck into their mud hut with a mischievous smile. The humanitarians had brought markers that were bold and bright. One child used them to fill in Jelly Beans' markings that night. In the morning, Jelly Beans and Hope laughed loud and strong. They both figured it was what needed to happen all along. Oh, let me go back for a second. The other thing I want to share too, remember the Mbisha character, he was the real village elder. So again, I melded fiction and reality to tell this tale. Now, Sandy Schley is handing markers to the child so that we can see and imagine that the child went in to color in the spots at night. But there's a more significant reason that I chose to do this. I wanted to honor Sandy for two different acts of humanitarianism and kindness. A few years ago, she helped a little boy named Moses, and I don't know if you heard the Moses story, but this was a way for me as her friend who wanted to honor the humility of my friend. I wanted to have that little boy represent Moses too. So in that picture, there are two acts of humanitarian service, the earth dam that we did for the Barbag tribe, and the little boy Moses, whose life she changed, and Tim Murphy changed as well. So that was fun for me to honor Sandy. So Sandy is infamous. And you're going to be in another book. I don't know if you knew that, but you're going to actually speak in other ones. She has no speaking part of this in this one. Jelly Beans now fully embodied his name. With those markings, it's good he was tame. Hope spoke quietly, tilting her head to the side while taking in Jelly Beans' confidence and pride. You've persevered and found your self-esteem, and all because of the Barbag tribe, it would seem. Everyone loved his colorful Jelly Beans fur. He expressed his gratitude through his soothing purr. It was all making beautiful sense now. His mother's words enlightened him. Wow, she'd been right about it all. Everyone has a unique call. He finally understood how our connection to all makes it impossible to feel insignificant or small. Connection provides us with a sense of our wholeness. It empowers us with empathy, true confidence, and boldness. Jelly Beans realized it was their mothers who had taught the two that giving love is the most meaningful and powerful thing to do. Okay, so I'm going to read the description for the next children's book that I wrote, and here's the description. Jelly Beans, the Cheetah and Hope Empathy Airlines is the second book in the series. It is once again intended as a vehicle for empowering youth with empathy to spring into compassionate action in their families, schools, communities, and in service for our world. The story continues to relay the message that we are one human family through the text as well as through song. One important new message introduced is that of the value of play that I shared before. As a continuation of the first book, Jelly Beans, the Cheetah, and Hope, this second book seeks to answer some unanswered questions about the characters and to reinforce the learning of the vocabulary as well as concepts of empathy, humanitarianism, and the scarcity of clean water that had previously been introduced. It further seeks to relay that all living beings and people share and belong to each other and to one earth. The beautiful adventure and friendship then in the second book continues for Jelly Beans, the Cheetah, and Hope as they now live with the Barbag tribe. They have settled in nicely with their new family, which allows them to continue the emotional journey of discovery about each other through talking, listening, and asking many questions. They each disclose how they came to be without a mother and other details from their past, allowing the reader to come along on the discovery too. Hope explains and teaches some of the bigger words she uses to an inquisitive, eager-to-learn Jelly Beans the Cheetah. The characters once again face grave challenges, but together demonstrate their emotional strength, perseverance, devotion, and empathy for each other. They open their hearts and minds further by deciding to serve countless others with empathy with their Empathy Airlines game that they play. A little bit of a teaser, and then I want for you guys to talk to me and ask me questions, and let's interact as people caring about our young people and with ideas with what we can do to make things go even better for them. We need to counter the technology. I'm not saying technology is bad. We all embrace it, and we need to be in this time in history. But we also need to be careful to counter the effects that are negative, that are very real. Okay, so here's just a couple little teasers. Jelly Beans the Cheetah was filled with, this is the second book, Jelly Beans the Cheetah was filled with joy and grace. It was literally written all over his body and face. The Barbag and Hope had helped him feel whole, so Jelly Beans was no longer a sad, tortured soul. Hope's mom had been her whole heart, so when she lost her, Hope fell apart. Hope was given love and empathy that helped her heal after having been devastated by the awful ordeal. It wasn't Hope's idea to come to Africa, it's true, but she came to love the experience of what was new. Hope often thought about her very long airplane ride, on which she found someone with whom to confide. It was on that plane Hope clung to her stuffed elephant drenched in her tears when a loving, kind flight attendant noticed and cared, easing her pain and fears. My cheetah brother had taught me so much about love. His precious kindness had enveloped me like a glove. So when he asked for my complete story, I easily gave it in its full sadness and glory. On the plane, the flight attendant and crew were loving and kind. They all could tell I had a devastated heart and mind. They noticed tears had soaked my elephant friend, so the flight crew quickly sought to help me mend. A flight attendant brought me to meet the pilot on that flight. She was encouraging, telling me I could be one too that night. The male co-pilot echoed her notion, saying male and female can lead locomotion. The flight attendant, who was named Teresa Blue, came back over to say, I have something for you. This is an airplane I bought for my niece. I'll get her another one. Can you take it, please? Pilot Annie had already given me wings, saying a life can only be lived with a heart that sings. I think she meant to follow our dreams, like she did becoming a pilot, it seems. Okay, so we're just going to give you an example of her explaining what empathy means to Jelly Beans the Cheetah. So she's answering him when he's asking the question about what it means. Empathy means to put yourself in someone else's shoes, my dear, imagining how they would think and feel. Is that clear? Oh yes, Hope, I understand, since you did that for me too. You showed me empathy like you regularly do. I was alone and afraid in that cage at night, so you sat near me and eased my fright. You also showed me empathy by letting me go free. Yes, Jelly Beans, since a cage was no place for a beautiful animal to be. Hope chimes in, the tribe shows empathy too, when we were alone and didn't know what to do. The humanitarians showed empathy to the tribe. The Barbag showed such gratitude, too beautiful to describe. Since they needed clean water so girls could go to school, the humanitarians provided that as an important tool. An earth dam was given in empathy, which is a step up from sympathy. It was meant to help the Barbag tribe thrive. Clean water is essential to keep people alive. I want to end with that, and thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for the service that you are providing our world and your children and our communities, our country, and everybody. You're doing so much. You inspire. Rotary inspires. You are inspiring, and I'm inspired by you. I'm inspired by all of you to be doing anything that I'm able to do, so thank you so much.